Here we are for the Sportive Survival Guide. We're actually going to be looking at some techniques on climbing and descending. Unless you're fortunate enough to actually live in the mountains, you're probably going to be faced with a few bits of terrain which are very, very different to what you're used to riding. So we're going to do our best just to, as I say, give you some hints and tips on getting over the mountains in its best condition, and then hopefully being able to enjoy the descents as well. Riding in the mountains is really all about technique, staying relaxed and being efficient. But what you've got to remember is there's no one technique which is going to work for every rider. So it is a little bit of experimentation, but really there isn't a right or a wrong. It's what really works for the rider. Everyone's different, everyone feels more comfortable in different positions. And really, you know, efficiency comes in the rider. It doesn't come in a technique or a look. One of the key things to remember on any climb is to try and stay relaxed. The more relaxed you are, obviously you're going to be wasting less energy, you're not going to be as tense. And in the long run, if you've got multiple mountains to climb, you're going to feel in a lot better shape. You can see here, just sat in the saddle, the gradient's not too steep at the moment, so you can keep a high cadence. Hands are gently resting on the top of the handlebars, you know, barely gripping the handlebars. Again, just trying to stay nice and relaxed. It's always important there, we've got the cadence again. I try and climb, you know, if I can, at around sort of 90 RPM. Obviously when the gradient gets steeper, then that's gonna shift down, but wherever possible try and stay over the gear and keep the legs really turning smoothly. You can see my arms there are slightly bent. That's just also used as a bit of shock absorption, so if you do happen to hit some rough tarmac, you know, your arms aren't completely locked out and all that force is going to go into your upper body. You can see the difference in the position which I'm holding on the road bike to the chap in the background who's got the arms really locked out there. You know, so just a technique which is worth bearing in mind. Try and get your bike set up correct so that you're nice and sort of loose on the top of the bike, your upper body's nice and relaxed. Now it's not going to be possible to stay in a seated position all the time, and likewise with the hands on the tops of the handlebars. So if you need a bit of extra leverage, you may need to shift your hands like I've got here just onto the hoods. So this is a slightly steeper section. You can see how the cadence there is slowed quite a lot. Pushing the body weight forwards, maintaining traction, sort of leaning forwards, leaning into the bend. And the hood's on the tops really just to sort of use that extra leverage, so as I'm pulling up on the pedals I'm also pulling up on the handlebars there. I always have my bike set up so that when I'm in that position you can see like that my arms are at 90 degrees. It's just a comfortable position. It's worth sort of experimenting and finding out what works for the individual. You see sort of shifting from a seated position here to a standing position depending on the part of the climb. As I say, generally on the steeper sections you'll see I'm out of the saddle and actually using my upper body more to propel me forward as well. My sort of riding style, that's really benefited me just from the experience which I've had with sort of climbing mountains. But if you've got the power in the legs and the lower back just to sit in the saddle, then you know, that's a great technique to have as well. The hardest part of most climbs is when you hit hairpin bends. The inner part of the bend is generally the steepest. If I'm looking at trying to recover a little bit, then I'll probably ride the outside of the bend, outside of the hairpin, which is flatter. It's a slightly less gradient. If I'm sort of on form and I'm feeling, you know, I'm still good, then I'll probably be out the saddle and power my way through the inside of the bend. Which, as I say, is the hardest section, so you really need to be out of the saddle like I am here and move yourself through that corner. And it's amazing by riding that sort of aggressively how quickly you can get a gap on someone and how quickly you can get away from a group or power away from riders on a climb. So, you know, there's two different techniques. You can almost recover on sections like that because it is flatter. But if you are feeling like you want to get away from riders, then try and ride the inside of the bend, try and power your way up it. Even if you only put the power on for sort of 20 seconds through that bend, you will notice a big gap open up from riders around you. think one of the most important things with climbing in the mountains, despite probably the pain which you're going to be in, the suffering which the mountains always induce, is to take some time and actually enjoy the scenery. You can look out. I'm foolish enough not to be looking over my right-hand shoulder here at the absolutely spectacular scenery. So yeah, whatever technique that you're employing to get up these climbs, just make sure that you actually enjoy it for what it is, because it's truly stunning and inspirational when you're out in the mountains. So as a summary, if I can give some advice and some handy hints, I'd say, stay relaxed, keep your upper body relaxed. Decide on a technique which works best for you. It could be sat in the saddle if you've got the power and the lower back's really strong to power your way all the way up the climb. For me, I spend a lot of time out the saddle. But I would probably say that a mixture of the two will be good, because you can change your position on the bike, and you can give certain muscles then a rest, and certain muscles can come into play to power you up the climb. So work on a technique. There's no sort of hard and fast technique which you say that's going to be the optimum way of climbing a mountain. Just experiment, work on something which is going to be good for you. Stay relaxed, keep your cadence nice and high, stay over the gear. As soon as you start really sort of the gear gets on top of you, that's when you can start to really suffer. And really, bottom line is go and enjoy. Climbing's definitely a big part of any big event like a sportive. So sort of embrace it and go out there and enjoy the climbing, enjoy the scenery. After all that hard work, you're going to have a beautiful descent. So go out and enjoy.